All right, we are back. Same truck, same dirty truck, same t-shirt, kind of same color. So yesterday's discussion went really well. And let me say this. I thought yesterday's video went really well. Good, actually. Let me define what good means in my mind. Good to me, pardon me, does not mean that everyone agreed with me. Okay, that's not my definition of good. Good, in my definition, means that people were able to get together, disagree with me or agree with me, because I did make mistakes in the video, and I admitted to it to many people and also included in pinned comments above on the video itself. But good to me means we were able to have an adult discussion, conversation with no profanity, with no name calling, and people were able to discuss their thoughts and have an open forum without the fear of judgment, and people that usually is very prevalent on Facebook, where if they disagree with you, they just call you an idiot, which I have never been a fan of. I think disagreement and agreement is important to have in our world, and I don't always agree with everybody, and not everyone agreed with me yesterday. But that's okay, because we can disagree, still love on each other, still appreciate each other's opinions and the stance we can take, have a discussion about it, learn about things. Yesterday, I learned that, my point was that Greg was very inclusive in the LGBTQ, sorry if I messed it up, society, and therefore I would also assume he'd be accepting of people of color. And I was wrong. That was wrong of me to say, but I learned something. So we can all learn something. So anyways, today, same conversation. Not same conversation, but same kind of discussion in the fact that I'm going to present my opinions. These are my opinions. If you disagree with them, I am completely okay with that. Please let me know down below and we can have an open forum discussion concerning it. So yesterday we kind of discussed anger misplacement, and we also discussed labeling. And so today I want to discuss decision making. I think it's an important topic to go over. And so I like to give a good metaphor. Yesterday was my pin the tail on the donkey. I always like to make, it's not necessary to make light of the situation, make fun of it, but I think it's important for people in this circumstance. Sometimes metaphors help people. I know they help me out, and so that's what I tend to use in conversations. So when I was a kid, and I also like telling stories. So when I was a kid in high school, I got in trouble in high school quite a few times. And I was suspended quite a few times from high school, not for like, bad mouthing the teacher. It was just stupid pranks. I was just, a dumb kid. And me and my buddy both got suspended from high school for like a week or so. And during that time, my parents punished me accordingly for what I had done at school. And of course, I turned my ways around and didn't get suspended again, I guess, after the second time. And a buddy of mine also went home, and his parents gave him a punishment. And they said, I'm not going to reveal his name, but they said, hey, hey, kid, hey, you, here's a shovel. I need you to go outside and dig a hole. And so they kind of gave him the dimensions of the hole. And he went out there and probably thought it was for a septic tank or, I don't know, something to dig a hole for. And so he dug a hole, and it was a pretty large hole. Granted, this is in California where the topsoil is pretty deep. So he dug a pretty good sized hole. And when he was done, his dad came back outside and said, hey, good, this hole's perfect. Thank you. And he goes, okay, so am I done? He goes, no, I need you to fill that hole in. And when he told me the story later, I started laughing. It was hilarious to us. Like, you dug a hole just to fill the hole in. It didn't make any sense to us. But looking back, there's obviously some kind of learning thing there that why, obviously it was meant to teach the kid to not do more work than he has to. Like, why would you reinvent the wheel? And so, kind of a funny story. It doesn't have really a great connection, but I want to kind of make the comparison and draw a line. And so right now, in our sport, people, and I talked about this yesterday, people are tending to judge the company for what one man has said. I don't think that's necessarily fair, to take what one man says in a company and then judge everyone in the company for what one man says. I don't think that's fair at all. I think there are good people in a company that don't agree with someone in charge. So there are people that are deciding, there are gyms and companies that are deciding to leave CrossFit. And I want to clarify and say this. First of all, I want you to understand this, so listen to me as I say this. They have every right to leave the company. They have every right to walk away. That is within their right. They are a franchise owner. They own a gym. They own a company, whether that's, any company in the CrossFit space. They are a sole owner of that. They can leave and do what they want. I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm not saying they're illogical. I'm not saying it was a knee-jerk reaction. I want you to hear as I say that, okay? They have every right to do that. But I think in this circumstance that people need to maybe take a step back a little bit, breathe, and try to figure out what they're trying to do. Now, I want to say this, that I always appreciate people who act, okay? I have told this to many people in my lives, and I'm going to say it now to a public forum. Even though I don't necessarily agree with how someone does something, agree with their political stance, agree with how they interpret certain situations, agree with their agreement on certain topics, even if I don't agree with them, I have a lot of respect for someone who can act on something. Because words, like I'm doing now, to be honest, don't really do a whole lot. But taking action is really respectful in my mind. Someone who goes out and does something instead of speaking about it always has my respect, even if I don't agree with them. So, I don't necessarily in this case think that maybe unaffiliating right off the bat like that is probably the smartest move. You may disagree with me. I'm totally fine with that. I do, though, respect people who take action. That is respectful in my mind. And those people, that's cool. Good for them. But I think in terms of the circumstance, there could be a better solution that fits the cause, right? Because right now, we're really upset at the words said by the CEO of the company. We shouldn't, hopefully, be upset and ashamed of the company itself, because the company itself hasn't done anything wrong in my mind, and you may disagree, and that's okay. But it's one man who speaks for the company that we are upset at. And so my thoughts are this. We are upset at the man, not the organization. By unaffiliating, cutting ties with the company and saying, I will no longer be associated with that company, you're ostracizing the company and the man together. And in a capitalist society or in any society, you can vote with your pocketbook. And I support that. Boycotting is great. But I think in terms of this, we need to maybe take a step back and maybe not reinvent the wheel and maybe not dig a hole just to fill a hole in. Because that's what's going to end up happening. Is gyms around the country. Some big ones will be fine because they're going to unaffiliate and they have the leadership and the wherewithal to accomplish what they're doing. But some smaller gyms that might feel a little peer pressure to leave and follow suit with everyone else, don't have the leadership, don't have the infrastructure to accomplish what they need to. They might depend on CrossFit HQ for certain things. And I'm sure right now there are a lot of affiliate owners that I'm speaking to right now that probably are dealing with that. There are probably members in your community that are saying, hey, why are we still affiliated? Why don't we cut ties with the company, with a racist company? I don't necessarily think the company is racist per se. The statements made by Greg Glassman are terrible. Doesn't mean the company's racist. So here's my thought, is instead of digging a hole and digging your hole and burning down the company and then trying to create your own company and start something new, which is fine. I totally see that. But let's pocket that. Let's push that to the side. Let's table that discussion right here, put it over here for now, and then come back over here and see if there's a better alternate solution that can accomplish this, but without having to dig a hole and then fill it back in. And that is this. What if a better alternate solution, since we're upset at the man running the company, is instead, what if hundreds of affiliates and hundreds of companies that support the CrossFit realm and CrossFit Games and CrossFit this and that, what if they signed a petition? And the petition would say that if Greg Glassman does not step down as CEO and does not sell all his shares of the company, therefore taking himself completely out of the realm of CrossFit, he can still stay involved, but he doesn't have any say in the company. Because if he steps down as CEO, he still owns and is the sole proprietor of the company. What if he steps down as CEO and is not the sole proprietor and sells all his shares of CrossFit? And if he doesn't do it within 5 to 6 months or some number of months, then these hundreds of affiliates and hundreds of companies that sign this petition will then leave the company. Because in my mind, you're not burning down a barn just to build a new barn. Why don't we try and fix what we have, fix the infrastructure we have, fix the great company that we have, but maybe get rid of something that isn't making the company great. So, there's my thoughts. I don't really know if the dig a hole and fill it back in really made sense, to be honest. It's a great story for another day that I can always talk about more. But that's just kind of my quick thoughts on the issue of, why would we have to do extra work? What if we all band together and said, we don't have a problem with the company, we have a problem with the person in charge of the company. And if that's the case and you agree with me, then maybe instead of unaffiliating and jumping off and doing something immediately right now, what if we stood back, took a deep breath and said, you know what a better solution might be? That allows us to still unaffiliate if nothing changes. But what if we signed a petition that said if leadership does not change and the CEO does not step down and sell his full shares, so therefore he isn't making money off the company, because I know that's a big thing for a lot of people, is they're like, well, I don't want him to step down as CEO, but then he still makes my affiliate fees. I totally get that, and I agree with you. So instead, what if he steps down and sells his shares, but if that doesn't happen within a self-proclaimed timeline, then it's a max exodus, and then CrossFit ceases to exist, and we can dig the hole to then maybe fill it back in with a different company that fits what our needs are. Anyways, quick thoughts. Again, these are my thoughts, my personal thoughts. I do not reflect the opinions of any of my sponsors, anybody associated with me. This is just my thoughts as Jacob Hepner. Let me know down below what you think. Again, please keep it clean, please keep it family friendly, and please no name calling. Other than that, we can have an open forum, an awesome discussion, and hopefully look into what the future looks like for the sport. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.